Yeah, we're live. What's up, Daniel? I've been waiting to do a live with you. It's been long overdue.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I think we connected back in April of this past year.
You know what?
Maybe
Let
it
me
was
check.
maybe it was March. Maybe it was March. I think we first spoke in April.
Let me see. So, because I have like the premium and all that stuff. Oh, cool! It gave me my own notification. I like it when it actually. I like it when it actually notifies me because then I know like other people get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hold on, let's see. So Daniel Hall. Yeah. So let's see, Daniel Hall. Cool. But I mean, how's your week so far?
Good, man. Good. Good. Yeah, just before the show got to wrap up with a little bit of snuggle time with my youngest, Bella.
Nice, nice.
So I'll always soak that up while I can.
Yeah. No, cool. Hey, so we have several people on. Hey Carmen, hey Sultan, what's up? Sultan has a new profile photo, like it. Hey Jared, nice to see you. Oh crap, what did I do? Why did I hold up? I like refreshed and I went to the wrong place. So no, I mean I think it's very important. And you know, one thing I liked about you is like when I gave you a time, you said let's not do between this time and this time because you know that's the time you spend with your kids. And I think it's always important, especially like when people work from home and stuff. It's like you know you need to have that separation. Like here's time when only call me if something's on fire.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and our dynamics, man, are just it's quite different than your I don't want to say average family, but it's the dynamics are different. Tina, my wife Tina she needs that time. She needs that
Yeah,
break. She needs to recharge. And when 5 o'clock rolls around, man, I'm upstairs, trying
yeah,
to just let her wind down and do her thing. And same thing on the weekends. It's her time off. So if you don't respect that, if mama's not happy, nobody's
yeah,
happy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it just leads to
So
a chain reaction. Hey, what's up, Glenn? Nice to see you. What's up, Christina? Thanks for the support. The profile, he's Sultan said the profile picture likes you back. No, I mean, so you've been working on just like several different things, right? So
yeah,
you know, you come from a tech background and you're self-taught.
yeah.
What direction? Because you know, a lot of people they're told to get into tech. If you sort of had advice for someone, what would you kind of tell them? And not necessarily go into XYZ, but hey, here's some things you should consider when going to XYZ, and here are the different options that are available.
Absolutely. So, first and foremost, play around. If you're getting into tech, just, try, if you want to get into hardware, try it. See if you like
Yeah,
it. If you want to get into software, try it. See if you like it. And then I, at one point, you'll find out which one of those is your passion.
yeah,
And I can't stress that enough that you need to find out what that love is, what that passion is. Because once you find that, whether it's software or hardware,
yeah,
then I mean you'll have fun at what you do every day. And
yeah,
it'll fit into your life, it'll fit into your flow. It really
yeah,
will. So I really don't want to say I love hardware and I love software. I grew up, writing software, but then kind of migrated to hardware. I can't tell you what's out there for hardware anymore.
yeah,
The technology's is so far advanced now. I mean, what they had on a space shuttle, is will fit in the palm of your hand nowadays. So
yeah.
it's
No, I
it
mean it's really crazy how far technology has come, right? It's
yeah,
like you know, it's crazy.
yeah. When I
Like
was eight, yeah, go
no,
ahead, man.
technology is like you know, I think about my phone and I think about just all the things and you know, you even think about Bluetooth, you think about wireless and all this stuff. It's like it's really changed, right? That
Yeah.
even thinking about now, right? Like 10 years ago, it's like would you watch someone doing just how accessible internet broadcasting is makes a big difference.
Yeah, and COVID has changed that so much. I mean, it's really pushed the envelope there. And technology seems to change. I've been writing code since I was 8.
Yeah.
So it seems like every 10 years, technology just changes and shifts. It flip flops.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it'll be client server first 10 years, and then everything is just, you just have that uh, fat server, or you
Yeah.
have everything on your big servers, and
Yeah.
it flip flops. So all depends on what the latest
Yeah.
flavor
I mean,
today is.
I think what we're gonna see is I think we're gonna see a slight shift away to the from the cloud, or a change in the cloud, right? Only because of now what ends up happening is these companies essentially own your data in a
Yeah,
certain way, right?
yeah,
And I mean, obviously there are rules and regulations, but if their failure, and there are always some privacy and security concerns and all that. So I do think eventually it's going to come into back a little, maybe a hybrid solution, right? So
yeah.
that's going to be,
Yeah, I completely agree with that, and
yeah,
that makes sense. With all the regulatory stuff that and all the stuff
yeah,
that the government's pushing. I don't want to talk politics, but
yeah, yeah,
I'll leave it at that.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
I mean it's tough because, like, and it's also not cheap either, right? Because it's
no,
like, you would think, like, I know, like, video hosting is expensive. Like, people think about, oh yeah, Zoom call, but they don't realize that Zoom probably loses money on all the free accounts, right? And they really make
yeah,
the money back on the corporate accounts and the enterprise licenses and all that, because I know video hosting can definitely be, hourly, can get expensive, and obviously the higher definition and all that stuff definitely changes things.
absolutely, absolutely does. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So what would you kind of say in terms of video and all that? So how'd you get into writing code at 8 years old?
Well, where I grew up in Vermont, and just a huge
Yeah.
shout out to my high school, the Slaters.
Yeah.
Huge shout out to all the
Nice.
Slaters there. Um, I grew up in Castleton, Vermont, and at that time, back in the 70s, they actually let people from the community come in to use the computer center.
Yeah.
It could be anybody. It could be a young kid. It could be an older adult. It could be anybody. And my mom, the times have definitely changed. My mother would go to her church function, and I was interested in learning more about the computer. She'd drop me off at the library,
Wow,
and
that's amazing.
yeah, and I would just comb the library, and all of a sudden I found a computer center, and there were kids in there like me, and just sat down at one of these great big digital equipment corporation terminals and started typing away and writing code, writing COBOL,
Yeah.
and I'd bring home these big reams of green bar paper to my mom. She would have no clue what I was doing, but I was writing code, and by the time I was 13, I was helping the college students do their finals in COBOL and Pascal, and
COBOL
so
is still used, right, by the
yeah,
IRS and stuff in the
yeah,
city at the traffic lights and all that. Like, and they actually have trouble finding the program, and they pay well because they just have nobody to maintain these systems.
yeah, yeah. I'll pass on the COBOL though.
So, like, what you obviously have, just a great deal of experience in technology.
Yeah.
Sort of what, like, in your life, how has it changed for you specifically? So you went from COBOL, right, to the college students. What came next?
It was a Commodore VIC-20 actually.
Okay.
Same computers they use in like John Wick.
Yeah, yeah,
All those
yeah,
I saw those computers, them typing up, and John Wick got what was it, excommunicado or something,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
see him
yeah.
typing. Hey, that's Commodore VIC-20. Um,
That's great.
so I started. My parents, when I was 10, they got me a Commodore VIC-20 and this great big huge TV,
Yeah,
and I was in heaven. But that also set me down a path of being a loner for most of my
yeah.
life.
Okay.
My coping I was adopted by the Halls, and that was my coping mechanism, is just to, I would be in my room just writing code. And then from there, went from I believe it was like a Macintosh,
Yeah.
writing Apple programs and doing everything I could. And then DOS came out and the IBM came out. There's Trash 80s that were out. They called TRS 80s. We used to
Yeah.
call them Trash 80s, but and then IBM came out with their 8088s, and just on upwards beyond that, processors just started competing against other processors, the 2088, 30 or
Yeah.
30, was it 386 and 286s, and yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
No, so Majida asked, "Do you know code, Junaid?" I know a little code, nothing crazy. Like I know how to copy and paste code, little
yeah,
things, little simple tasks, and I can read enough that like I'll kind of understand what's going on. Well, I've never, in my past job, like Excel automation, like VBA little things.
yeah,
I kind of, I can Google for small things, and I know if I spent a few weeks, I could get competent at basic level, like the basic level stuff, and then obviously it would take some more months to be able to do more stuff. But
Did you know
you know,
that the beyond 2007 of Office, so 2007 and greater, all those files for Microsoft Office are actually zip files. So
yeah,
all your docx files, your Excel files, you can actually rename them to a .zip file, and you can uncompress them, and you can see all the XML, all
yeah,
the clear text files
interesting.
that are
Yeah, and
that are.
obviously the simple way is record macro, right?
You
That's what I
got
tell
it.
people.
That's how
Like
you learn.
record. That's how you
I
learn. You kind of
Yeah.
see, and then you kind of see, hey, what are the things I can replace? What are the
Yep.
more efficient ways and all that. So I mean, that's the good thing about coding, right? You start with something and then you improvise, you make it better. You figure out like, hey, if I work with a bigger set, is this still feasible or is it going to take too long? How do I speed it up? What's causing the gaps?
Yep.
So it's always very good to sort of do that stuff. Now, what do you think is in your future?
Probably more coding.
More
Coding.
coding,
I'll
but what
probably
type? Like,
do.
what direction do you think you're gonna go?
Right now, a lot of .NET Core and
Yeah,
C Sharp. I absolutely love .NET Core for the fact that it opened up a whole new world
yeah,
for Windows developers to be able to write code that would run. You use the same code base to
yeah,
run under Mac, Linux, and Windows. So
yeah,
it's really cool what they've done, what Microsoft has done with that.
yeah. I mean, it's very interesting just how things are going. Hannah says hi. Kem says hi. It's
Hi
no, I
guys.
mean, it's really just changed everything, right? It's just
Yeah.
crazy, and I think what's going to be interesting is like the VR is really going to be interesting, right? Because that's just such a new area, and right, I've been seeing some interesting games, and it's just becoming more accessible, right, and cheaper, right? That's typically how it becomes, right? At first, it's super expensive because these devices. And what do I have? I have it somewhere over here. I gotta go find it. Oh yeah, here. So I have this.
Oh
So I have the
yeah.
Samsung VR. I haven't used it in a while, but I should. And I it's so cool. I remember when I was watching a video by BMW, and it was like an ad, but it was like at first the car's behind you, right, and then it passes you, so you got to turn around and look, and it was so cool. Like they had the deserts in Egypt, and you could kind of see the pyramids and the sand, and you could go different places. So it's just, I think it'll really open up just different parts. And then Hannah says, hey, what's up, Imtiaz? And Hannah says she loves your background. I love it too,
Ah,
man.
yeah. You know what? I was like, Giant, is this going to be a good background? I mean, this is my background. This is my identity. This is who I am. So I didn't want any green screen background. It's like, this is my background. These are all my
Yeah,
kids' drawings and
honestly,
stuff.
I think it
Yeah,
should be more commonplace to have those backgrounds because
yeah,
you get on Zoom calls and people will say, excuse my background. It's like, look, you know what? It's okay. It's like it's just a part of life, right? Like we don't all live in these picture perfect homes with, and we're not all CEOs who have bookshelves that are like made out of the finest wood and they have like 50 books, right?
yeah,
Most people are regular people, and as you can see, like I'm still in the process of cleaning, so I built a new bed. So I got like a loft bed, so my bed is like above me. So just so I could have more space and all that. So I'm gonna make things nice and stuff. But again, it's a work in progress.
Hey, life happens, man. Life does happen.
Yeah, no, life happens. What's up, Joel? Joel, and then Liam says, the pictures mean so much. I have some. Oh, you know what? I'll show you. So I have these two things saved. Oh, no. Okay. So I have these two things saved. So I don't know, my nephew made this. Like he stayed over one New Year's. I guess his parents picked him up late, but
Awesome.
he wrote like and then he made this. I took him to like bring your kid to work day. I brought my nephew, so he made like one of these, and it's like those are the things that what life is about.
It is, man, and every one of them has a story behind it.
Yeah.
It does, and that's what's priceless. Well, I always say go small or go home, because with our kids with special needs, it's those little tiny things that just make them happy, and it's just you can't have those big steps on the ladder for them. It has to just be those tiny little victories that are huge for them.
Yeah, so, I mean, even for people, right? Oftentimes people want these huge leaps, but it's like you don't need those huge leaps. That people just think you need these big wins, but the fact is you just need small wins that you build up over time, and that's really what matters.
Yeah, and then when Tina and I are gone, it's our children, just holding each other's hand and then pulling them up the ladder, and that's what we want. That's what we're here for, and to me, that's the way a family should be. But no, that's not for everybody.
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, I think family is super important, and I think so how are you finding, right? Because was your work always remote, or has it been remote since COVID?
June of last year, we went all remote.
Nice.
It was, and we had no idea this was coming. So we had 6 months. We were already in full remote capabilities, and it was a rough transition. But by the end of the 6 months, we had it down. So when things started shutting down, we were already in full gear.
Yeah. What do you think is the hardest part of being remote?
The hardest part of being remote used to be when my kids would run in, or our children would run in, just because I was trying to really gauge on how to cope with it. And, as our customers got used to it, it was just like, oh, no problem, man. They're so cute, and then I'll be like, you guys can come in if you want, come on. So, that was probably the toughest part. And then just trying to access all the systems was tough.
What advice would you have for someone who's remote with, kids?
Remote with kids,
because it's different, right? Remote with kids is different. It's
it really depends. It really depends on the dynamic of the person. I think most businesses now, and even around the world, are used to that dynamic now because of COVID. You just have to roll with it. If you're in a meeting or something and a child walks in, I mean, the last thing you want to do is like, I'm on a meeting. Don't get out. You don't want to. You just have to roll with it. That's what happens nowadays with COVID and stuff. You can't. Everybody's working from home. You can't stop that.
Yeah, and I think you said something right there. You just gotta cope with it. And that's a life thing, right? Like things are gonna happen. Things are not perfect. Things are unexpected. Things are gonna happen, and you're just gonna have to find a way to adapt and just adjust, right? That's just life situation, right? There's really no way to around it. Thanks, Adam, for stopping by. I appreciate you. He gotta go, and I think it's very important.
Yeah. So what about you? How have you been dealing with COVID and everything? I think things are starting to shut down again.
Yeah, I mean, you have that forecasting thing, and it's unfortunately it's looking real bad. Just we're setting world. I believe in like 6 days we hit like 1 million
Yeah.
cases. So it's crazy. And then Liam says the silver lining of COVID is that businesses are becoming more human. No need to apologize for kids running in, and employees should be able to put family first, because at the end of the day, it's like, look, your work is not more important than family. It's not more important than other things in your life. While it is important, it's, I think employers need to recognize that they're not the center of their world, that they're there to make sure that they provide the people with the living, and then, from there, have a mutual exchange. For me, it's, well, the first thing is I had to get a new chair, because I had my previous chair I bought for $20, right? I went to like Connecticut, I think that's where I went to. I bought like a desk and a chair, right? Like the guy barely used it. But man, like I was sitting like 10, 12, 14, whatever, 16 hours a day in the chair, just like working and all that stuff. Because before it's like, look, you drive, you get up, you walk places, you meet people. So eventually my butt started hurting. Like it was bad that I actually, in order to continue work, I had to go lay down in the bed, and I'd message and email from my phone for a break. So then I bought like a used Herman Miller off Facebook, and it's definitely one of the best purchases I've done, because I mean the chairs go for like 1,000 plus. I got it for like 400, a little above 400. And now I got like 4 monitors, right? I got a new PC just because like I was really pushing the limitations of my laptop. Yeah. So I just needed a new PC and all that. So, it's just good to kind of fully, I got more into like PCs and understood hardware a little more, because before, like, Intel has so many processors. Now it's like I have a better idea of like what they mean and the letters and all that. So, that's cool. But I started the virtual events business, which has grown phenomenally. So it's just one of those things that, I kind of saw the writing on the wall, and I adapted, right? I made sure that, again, what's going to happen is going to happen. You have to make sure that you're prepared for it in whatever capacity you can be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good for you, man. Good for you. I'm still running the same PC, believe it or not.
What are you running?
I'm running a Intel i7-900 Extreme that's about 8 years old.
Okay. I mean, the Extremes are pretty, they're pretty different and pretty good.
Yeah. And when I bought it back then, I'm like, I'm going to have this for probably about 10 years. So I stacked it up with like 24 gigs of RAM. I've got about 18 T's of hard drive space on my system.
Oh my,
right now.
Yeah. Wow. So, that's intense.
And then I just got, last year I got a 2 terabyte SSD to run.
That probably made a big difference.
Oh my gosh, it's like a new computer.
Yeah.
It's like a new computer. And it's been in the basement. So it's been cool all these years.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been overheating the processor hardly at all. So.
Yeah, I mean, right now, so I have an i9 9900K, so it's like 3.6 gigs, 8 cores, 16 threads. I got 64 gigs of RAM, but I'm probably never even pushing half of it. But then I want to upgrade my video card, because I had one used from a computer that I got from a former workplace, and it was sitting in my garage. And then when I got into PC building, I was like, you know what? I can build this. And then I was like, wow, this was actually like, it had good. So I used the power supply and all that. So, it's cool. So I'm trying to snag one of the NVIDIA video cards, but they just sold out. And the day they had them, I just didn't have enough money to sort of buy it at the time.
Yeah. Got to get those GPUs in there.
Yeah. I mean, my friend has he bought like a $700 monitor, and he has the 3080. The NVIDIA, and man, so his brother plays on the Xbox and he plays on that monitor, and the difference between those, it's like crazy. It's like night and day, and you thought the Xbox was good, and it's like this one just takes it to completely, like just the color contrast is just really, it's crazy to kind of see what a good monitor and a good graphics card can really do. Hey, what's up, Rena? Hey, Christina, nice to see you.
Yeah, so with just shifting to the gaming systems.
Yeah.
I know you were talking about those this past week with me, and do we have a Switch? And with gaming systems for our dynamics and like fetal alcohol and reactive attachment disorder and those dynamics, those types of gaming systems, even like I have a Gravity VR what do you call it, the 3D visual thing, like the Oculus or whatever.
Yeah.
And we can't even do anything like that with our kids because, I mean, their brains are already geared for addiction from the fetal alcohol.
Yeah.
So we have an old Atari system that we let them jump on, an iPad and iPod. But for the higher end gaming system, which we just don't have it in the house, we don't keep it around or let them on any of the games just because we don't want that to really, it'll do a number on their brains.
Yeah.
Really well.
Do you think they could ever get on it when they're older?
They'll have that choice. I mean, we're not going to stop them, but you know, they're gonna have those challenges when they get older. But we just don't want to have to give them
start from a young age
now. Yeah,
and I think you know, even without any of that predisposition, even I see young kids right now. It's I actually I know someone, and you know, I told the parents, I was like, look, you got to make sure you set standards, and you gotta give some separation, because now, like, normal kid, but now, you know, he's depressed because they don't have any reward. Like, they just don't feel like doing anything because they're so used to like an easy dopamine,
the
gamification of rewards, and it's like, you know, it's just, you know, it really damages. And you know, the thing is worse than, it's so much worse now than before. Like before, they didn't have as much data. They didn't know. Now it's like they know, like, oh, if we have these colors, or if we do a certain way, you're gonna spend 8 seconds longer on the interaction. And they have all this data, and they hire psychologists with these games. So it's a smart choice just in general to be mindful of that, because I see so many kids, right? You see them and they start them on iPads. You know, it's easy, right? You put them on the iPad and they're just on it all day. But then what happens is, you know, you give them like a real toy, or you have them go outside, and you know, they don't want to, right? They're so used to the iPad, and it's damaging.
It is, and it's hard as a parent not to use that as a backup plan.
Yeah,
it really is. I think for us, it really depends on the time. If depending on the chaos that's going on in the house, sometimes you don't have an option. You have to just, you know, when you're trying to put out one fire, and that one fire starts 3 other fires, it gets to be, you have to have a backup plan, and sometimes that's the backup plan, and that's okay. You have to roll with what works for you.
Yeah. So, I mean, did you grow up playing games and stuff?
I did, and I got heavy and addicted to playing games. I was heavy before I met Tina, I was heavy into playing Final Fantasy, and you know,
I don't start some of those games because I know it's like, what's gonna happen is, oh, you got to play 1, 2, 3. That's why it's like, look, I have a sort of addicted personality in some senses, where it's like, if I watch like, I didn't start Game of Thrones because I know it's whatever 8 seasons or whatever how many seasons, and I know I'm gonna start from season 1, and it's gonna be like and eventually it's like next week, and I haven't, you know, because I know, like, sometimes during summer breaks, I know, like, I watch like 5 seasons of a show in, like, you know, 6 days. Like, I used to just go straight back to back to back. So for me, it's like, I find that a lot of times the best thing to do is not to start, or, you know, have set arbitrary rules of like, hey, you're only allowed to watch like 1 episode, and that's because, you know, they always leave it on a hook. They always do something. It's I remember I used to play like some of those Facebook games, like those little racing games, and the way they're designed is they reward people who frequently check the game. It's not like, hey, if you stay away from the game, you get rewarded. It's like, if you stay away, you get less rewards per time interval.
Oh yeah. The gamification of just the rewards and stuff they're tricky, man. They keep you engaged.
Yeah, so that's why it's like, I don't start the online games, and again, it's like, you're competing with 14-year-olds that have all the time in the world and no responsibilities, and it's super hard to beat. And then, you know, you compete with the people who are doing it professionally, and it's just crazy. So it's like, I don't do the online game because, again, there's no end in sight, right? If you try to become the best in the world, there's always someone else who's trying to be better than you, you know, who's spending money. Because I know that a lot of these games, well, the online games, especially with the microtransactions, they make like off like 1 to 3%. They have people who are spending $2 to $10K a month on these games.
Oh yeah.
And it's just crazy. So for me, it's like I always, if I do play when I have time, I try to make sure I play a game that has an ending and that has, so I know, okay, here's when I'm probably going to stop. And,
Yeah.
I also try to mix it up where it's like, hey, try to get this stuff done.
Yeah, that's probably why I never got into World of Warcraft.
Oh man, look,
Yeah.
I've known people who've gotten into it, and again, it's just like I knew someone who was addicted, and then his friends had to have an intervention. Thankfully, he's doing good now. He's a programmer, for like a great company and all that. But it's tough, man.
Yeah.
It's so tough.
It is. It is.
Yeah. So, what other games were you a fan of?
Oh gosh. The heck did I play? Yeah, it's been so long. It's been so long. I know when I met Tina, she's like, it's either me or the game.
Yeah, yeah.
I haven't picked up anything in like 15 years. Yeah,
Really?
Two more days. It'll be our 15 years together. So.
Oh, congrats, man! I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, 15 years and 6 children.
Yeah, 6 children. No,
Actually,
that's
I should say 7. I have a
yeah,
son in Vermont from my
yeah.
first marriage.
Okay.
He's actually turned out to be quite an amazing young man.
Yeah.
If he's watching, hi Ethan.
Yeah. Hey. No,
Shout out to my
that's
son. Yeah.
that's amazing. That's amazing. So,
Yeah.
what are you sort of thinking in terms of like the 2021? Like, what do you kind of see? Like, do you see any big progress in technology that you kind of forecast or you kind of see making the waves?
I think blockchain is probably going to become a lot
Yeah.
more prevalent in 2021 on through the next at least 5 years.
Yeah.
I know Bitcoin is starting to, and I hate the Bitcoin scammers. I don't want
Yeah.
to
Yeah. Oh
dive
my
too much
God.
into blockchain, but
Yeah.
blockchain is I think going to really spread its wings
Yeah.
in the next at least 5 years. Next year is going to be, I think, whether it's going to we're going to really see what's going to happen. I think because of everything shutting down, people are going to shift to
Yeah.
alternative revenue source streams. So I think one would be blockchain. When you have that, you're going to continue to see the video card
Yeah.
industry still thrive
Yeah. No, I mean,
and get even better than what it is today.
yeah, I mean, Bitcoin has gone up like 40% in the last
It's
30 days.
almost back to where it was in
Yeah.
2017.
So it's just interesting. Do you know what triggered it? I have a portfolio, a small portfolio, nothing crazy. But yeah, my portfolio was like $1,000 early, and now it's like 1,800.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy because my portfolio doesn't have Bitcoin. Thankfully, the Ripple's been dragging up my portfolio. But
XRP.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I have some that I pretty much lost all my money. Like I have, I don't know if you know. Do you know Dent and DBC?
DVC sounds more familiar than Dent.
Yeah. Dent was like some token made for like blockchaining sort of your phone connection, like in some country on your unused data, kind of you were selling your unused data or something like that. And Deep Brain Chain was like kind of using networks, unused AI servers and stuff. So that one I lost 100% on, and the other one I lost 99% on. But it is what it is. But Teresa was like 2 to 10K a month, and here I am feeling bad for spending $4.99 for extra coin. I'm not a big. I don't really, some people are like anti-spending any money on games. For me, it's like, look, I'll spend a little. It's not it goes towards the development of the game and it goes to the people. I don't mind just because right now it's like my time's limited. So it's like, look, anything to shortcut. But yeah, obviously I'm not spending 2 to 10K.
Yeah, I think all the rage now is Uniswap and all the decentralized exchanges, the DEXs that are out there. Yeah.
MD Rashid said, what about PUBG? I've never played it. So, and he asks, as per you, which is the top skills job seekers need to learn? I'll kind of push back. I'm going to say that's a bad question only because top skills that job seekers need to learn are highly individualized for each job seeker. And it depends on what their strengths and weaknesses are. And what I tell people is figure out what you're missing, right? So that's why I don't like to give sort of what most job seekers need to do, because for some people their skills are they're good at this, and then they're weak in this. So again, it depends what type of job you want to go to. It depends what you're already good at. Depends on the industry. Depends on which level you're at. Like how an entry level person does their job search is different than a mid level, is different than a high level, and they face different things. Like I know someone more entry level. Again, you have to just stand out compared. You're applying online. I mean, networking works at all levels, but networking is much more uh, necessary the higher you go because the cycles are longer, right? I know that for someone higher up, you want a certain salary, you're not going to get it in a week, right? For at like the executive level, the average job search is like 6 months, right?
Yeah. I think if I had to answer that question, I'd probably steer more towards, if you're trying to improve some of your skills, there's nothing wrong with, making sure that you have just the standard skills like your Microsoft Office or,
Yeah,
those, I mean, Office has been around since the 90s
yeah,
and
and
it's still
Excel's
going.
not going away. Excel's
No,
not going
no,
away. And it's
no.
crazy. It's like when I worked in Excel, I still use Excel. It's crazy just like how people will use it every day and they don't realize a lot of the functions, right? I used to see like people do these reports and it's like, look, if you did this, you'd save like an hour or two every time you did this.
Yep.
And it's just crazy that, that people are just doing things so much so manually. So it's like, I would say knowing Excel is just good. Even some
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
basic
yeah.
things will just get you
And
far.
if somebody's just trying to figure out a career path, uh, programming is not going to go away. It's
Yeah,
not the
it's not.
easiest thing to pick up, and it takes a really different mindset.
Yeah,
But you can never go wrong with learning how to even code just some of the basic stuff.
yeah,
Even picking up something like Excel and learning the you know creating a macro and
yeah.
looking at it and see how it did it. It's right there in
Yeah,
front
so
of
Nick Lozano said, great to see you on camera. Um,
you.
yeah, so,
Thanks,
well,
Nick.
the other thing is what I would kind of advise job seekers listen to podcasts related to your
Yep.
industry. You'd be surprised at how much information you'll get in a 20 to 40-minute episode. You'll get so much jam
Yeah.
packed info where you learn a lot. And regardless of your industry, so you know what I can give? Work on your communication skills.
Yeah.
I get messages from job seekers all the time. So and MD Rashid, if you have a specific area, please let me know, and then I can give you a better, more clear answer. I had someone who messaged me saying, "Hey, I'm looking for a job. Can you recommend me?" You know, and it's like, the thing is it's like I don't really know you. I don't know how good your skill at the skills. I don't know what type. And then first is like, especially if you're international, it's like a completely different thing. So make sure that when you're looking for a job that you do your research so that when you ask someone a question that you can ask a good question, right? It's like, someone asking you, how do I get a job in programming? It's like, it's a hard question to answer because there's so many languages. It's such a vast field, right? It's like
Yeah.
if someone asks, like, where do I travel to? It's such a hard question to answer. There are hundreds of countries throughout the world. It's like, do you want a cold? Do you like, versus if you told someone, hey, I want to travel to a warm country that's, within this price range and has this type of food, and these are the activities I want to do. Now someone can actually say, here are the top 3 or top 4. But it's, I tell people, you need to ask good questions and sometimes I'll counter back, be like, I'll ask them about like something they're passionate about, and then I'll ask them the most general question, and you see how that's a bad question, and they'll be like, yeah, it makes sense now.
Yeah. 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 And one thing you don't want to leave out is, especially if you're connecting on LinkedIn, I always tell people to leave their bottoms at the door. I know it doesn't sound right, but
Yeah,
people tend to remember that. Don't go in with your bottom line, in
yeah,
mind. Just create be authentic and just, have a conversation, get to know the person. I know I hear this, you guys. I know I hear it from Nick and hear it
yeah,
from you, Janelle. And it's so important if you're going to approach some of these companies, you got to build a rapport and
yeah,
a human relationship with them. You can't just I want to get a programming job. You have to
Yeah.
you have to start building those relationships early.
Yeah, and the thing is, and I'll tell you, like people like me get burned by job seekers in the sense of there are people who I've gotten on calls with and I've helped them out. And then, they keep on asking for more. And then when I bring up I say, hey, look, if you want, here are my prices. And they never talk to me again. And then you find that you feel even more used that they don't even decline.
Yeah.
They say, hey, thank you for your help. And it's just kind of really, you just end up becoming a little more defensive and a little more selective because, I'm not going to stop helping people, but now it's like I'm just more careful of who I help, only because not that I don't like helping people, but it's like I don't want to help someone who's only, going around asking 20 people hoping for one response so they can take someone's free time, right? I want to sort of help people. Like, for example, I helped someone today, right? And what ends up happening is now that I'm selective with who I help, and I help a decent amount of people for free. And it's funny because they're ready to pay me. And I said, no, look, you're a connection. You built a rapport. It's fine. I only spent 15 minutes. And they're like, no, when I get something. And it's just interesting how, the type of people you want to help for free, they're ready to pay you. And the type of people you don't want to help, they're not ready to pay you. It's just such a funny dynamic.
Yeah, I was blown away by the fact that you even talked to me. You have no idea who I was. It just, I've been on LinkedIn, I think, since 2009.
Okay.
And
I'm in 2012.
I never have, even considered using it as a business or, building rapport with people. And when I first started talking to you, you were genuine. You were just like, hey, how's it going?
You're genuine too.
Yeah. So it was really cool to, just to talk to somebody that A, was, authentic, and B, just knew the platform.
Yeah.
And that really, you've helped me immensely on the platform. So
yeah, no, I mean, look,
you, man.
My thing is, look, I answer people who are authentic because it's just, I don't know, it just makes my time more pleasant. I like seeing people's updates. And I learn a lot from them. And it's just cool how these relationships really grow. And Majida says she used to be pretty good at HTML emoji codes. I used to edit HTML a little bit, but I don't remember much. That's also the other thing with programming. It's like once you get back in, things start to come back.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's I find that, look, genuine relationships take time to build, and it's like I find that when you don't have expectations on relationships, you'd be surprised at where they go.
Absolutely. And you can't. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Having those expectations means that you have an agenda, and if you're going in with an agenda, then it's all about you at that point.
Yeah, because when it's all about you, it's not as authentic. It's not the same, and it's not like people can smell it. Like I can smell when someone's like only messaging me because they need some specific thing, and then they'll leave. And that's why I tell a lot of people when they ask me for a call right away, if they're not like authentic in their message, they're like, "Hey, I'd love to get to know you more," and it's clear that they haven't done their research, and it's clear that they have, I'm message number, 18 out of their, quota of 30, that, right? It's, you can tell. And then once you tell them, they never engage with you, and you can kind of tell. And then MD says, so data science. So what advice would you have for someone going into data science? I think thanks for that suggestion, MD.
Data science. Wow. Well, I think that's a pretty straight up answer. For data science, you need to at least have some understanding of like data platforms. So if you want to pick up, you're going to end up using some type of data platform, whether it's an SQL database or MySQL or, or again, we're back to Excel.
Yeah.
Or if you're a programmer, you'll probably want to dig more into Python.
Yeah.
And
Python is a good suggestion.
Yeah. So, but yeah, if you're dealing with data, it's some type of data analytics software in platforms like Tableau or Sisense or Looker, Click. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, Yeah, I mean, if I could go back, man, I would have been. I don't know. I would have started entrepreneurship early, but I think I would have just learned a little more programming.
Yeah, yeah. But hey, if you did that, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing now. You wouldn't be talking to me.
Yeah, so it's
No,
it's fine. And
you
then
can't have any regrets, man.
Teresa says, "I'd love to get to know you more and then sell you some Bitcoin." It's just so funny. Those people. You know what I tell them? I
Oh
tell them,
man.
look, I just tell them, be like, well, they ask me how you're doing, and I'm saying I'm doing terrible because I keep on getting fake profiles messaging me, and then they'll be like, oh, nice, and then I say, look, I don't accept deals unless people get on video calls, or now I deny if I see it right away, I'll just deny the request and report them.
Yeah, and I today I had one of those, and I was like, immediately when it came up, it says, "Where do you live?" Thinking to myself, you can't. It's in my profile.
I don't know why people ask that. It's like,
And I
come
said
on.
to him, I was like, "Well, you pretty much already know where I live. The next thing you're going to do is, get me to do a KYC to know your customer, and then you're going to sell me Bitcoin." So whenever somebody asks you where you live, it's just
You just know
it's a
I just
precursor
ask.
to
It's a
yeah
precursor
yeah.
to. It's just like, and Sultan asked what camera, so I'm using the Brio. So I got the Logitech Brio. It says it's 4K. I don't know. I think it's like a fake 4K. That's like, I don't trust these because I have like a Fuji X100F that I use, and that one
Yeah.
when I go on,
Wow.
that one is like serious. But like, yeah, I got it because one of my business partners, he needed a webcam, so I was like, look, let me buy the new one. I'll give you my old one. It just doesn't. And then so he has my old one, so it has a difference in quality. So I like it. But
Nice.
LinkedIn seems to downgrade the quality, and I got to figure out this lighting because right now it's like, if you look at it, this is like right above. I have it
Yeah.
right above, so I got to figure out like the right, what's the right, whatever.
You might need to get a reflector.
So what's a reflector?
Just a reflector. It almost looks like a piece of aluminum, but it could be
Okay.
like a cloth, or you
Yeah.
just you position it away from the light so it bounces the light back on you.
I probably need that.
Like what I'm using right now is Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And I'm reflecting it off the wall. You can see I'm getting, at least it is. So a reflector, you can just pop it up and
It'll
put it in
bounce
front
off.
of your,
Okay.
yeah, it'll diffuse the light and make it a little bit softer.
That's what I need. That's what I need because right now, it's harsh and it's making my hair look crazy.
Yeah.
So no, but what's funny? I actually made money on Bitcoin because I had it in like 2012, and then so I had it during a first crash when it went from like $35 to like 250, and I sold it and it crashed 3 hours later. That was like such a lucky period, and it's interesting, but I feel bad because there's a reason someone's teaching these people to do it, that they can make money doing this.
Yeah.
And, and it sucks because they just don't know any better. And they're told like, hey, if you message 100 people, you're going to get one. And that's going to be enough for you. A crazy amount. For some of these people, it's like months worth of income, right? If one person actually makes an account. It's kind of sad.
Yeah. And I tell them, it's like, look at my profile. It says right down in my profile, certified blockchain expert.
Yeah.
You don't know that I already know the blockchain, so you're trying to sell me stuff that I already know about.
Yeah. And what the funny thing is, it's like all these things, it's cheaper to just buy and hold.
Yeah.
Then do and it's like, look, if there was a way to multiply your money by 7 in a week, I'm not gonna go message people, 100 people who are gonna get annoyed at me. I'm just gonna multiply my money by 7 in a week. That's it. It's just like, I'm not gonna spend time messaging people and all that.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just just don't stay away from Bitcoin. Just for now, if you don't know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Because every time you want to swap Bitcoin for something else, you're going to pay just a astronomical fee to be able to do it.
Yeah, the fees are crazy because it's like, yeah, if you keep it within this, cryptocurrencies is different. But yeah, once you do
Yeah,
dollars to this, I've seen like,
yeah,
especially when it gets busy, I've seen like transaction take hours, which sort of defeats the purpose and all that. Especially when everybody's talking about it, it's typically a bad time to sort of get in. So
yeah. Never sell your tokens or your altcoins if Bitcoin is down.
yeah,
That's a huge, it's just a huge no.
yeah,
Because if the price of Bitcoin is dropping and you think your token or your coin is doing well, if
yeah.
Bitcoin's not doing well, you're going to pay in the end.
Yeah.
So
No, it's tough. Again, you have to know what you're getting into.
yeah,
I mean, there's people who won big, but there are also plenty of people who've lost big, and so you got to be
yeah,
really mindful of that. No, I definitely think like especially as things become more virtual and security and all that stuff, the blockchain is really going to make some big hits. What are some personal goals that you have in 2021?
surviving,
I think
especially especially school. Man,
yeah,
it has been, our kids have a hard enough time with change,
yeah,
and we've already gone through schools closing,
yeah,
and then half of our kids, um, our daughter Bella, who's now just turned 5, she's in pre-K,
yeah,
so she went to school, and then Parker's autistic, and he went back into school, which is
yeah,
great because he went back in. He's got a full-time aide with him the entire
yeah,
day, so it's great, and it gives Mama a break, man.
yeah,
To at least have that layer of separation, and then a month and a half later, we're all coming back home.
yeah.
And it's just that change in their brains is just they can't handle it,
It's tough.
and
I mean, look, it's
yeah,
tough for people who don't have special
yeah,
needs and stuff.
yeah. Yeah. So I think one of our changes, one of our goals is to, we're going to have to do a lot better planning on how we're going to roll it in our house. And if that means positioning or moving our children around so it's not as disruptive.
Yeah,
So that's one of our huge goals. And the second is just making sure that our kids have enough interaction
yeah,
with other children, whether it's
yeah,
either on Zoom or whatever. We just don't want them to lose that face-to-face time with more than just us, but with
yeah.
other kids as well.
No, I think that's
Uh,
it's very important. I mean, let's slowly start to wrap up. Yeah, no, I mean it's gonna be challenging, right? I mean, just learning in general, like it's some people learn virtually all right, but some people do need the classroom because the one thing about learning virtually is you spend all your time on the computer. You spend all your you're checking in for this hours a day. Sometimes you
yeah,
need the separation and stuff. So it's not easy for everyone, and some people, right, the screen time. Some people don't like sitting down, right? So many factors. So it's always good to figure out like how do you learn effectively, especially with
yeah,
like so many changes. And then
yeah.
some teachers just don't know how to teach virtually too.
Yeah, it's been a struggle for them. I've seen both my wife and I have seen teachers that have just been in tears.
Yeah,
Especially with everything shifting the way it is.
yeah,
It's 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 hard. It's hard. It's hard for everybody. Um, yeah, it really is.
yeah. So I mean, how are you gonna close out 2020 with the holidays and stuff?
Right here at home, with my amazing wife Tina, who is just, I mean, talk about somebody that just sees the best in everybody.
Yeah,
Uh, it just, I mean, she's literally changed my life. I think I did that post where I said I didn't give a shit about anybody or anything up
yeah,
until I met her. And I
yeah,
was married before, and it was just the trauma that I went through. But just definitely just closing it out with our family, and usually our end of year celebrations are in the house watching TV, watching the fireworks and stuff.
yeah,
We can't really go out with our dynamics to public places that are loud, like
yeah,
even
yeah.
fireworks.
Oh
So
man,
it'll
I can
be
imagine.
same tradition. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, yeah,
In pure traditional fashion, the same as we do every year to keep it consistent.
Yeah, I mean, one silver lining is that, at the end of the day, the holidays is more about who you spend your time with than what you do, right? And, you
Absolutely.
know, and I think now more than ever, it's easier to stay connected virtually, right? Like, now I know that even in like Bangladesh, right, there are people in like villages who have WhatsApp and you can call and video call.
Yeah.
Think about something like 5, 10 years ago that it was like so unheard of, right? You have to do the phone, you have to do the phone cards and all that stuff. So, for everybody, thank you, Ardian. Just want to say thanks for stopping by. I'm doing well. Thanks to each and every one of you. Yeah, same thing, Nick. I prefer in person. I do like the flexibility of online. That sometimes, like in the middle of things, you can sort of
Yeah.
do it, and you can sort of create your own virtual environment where you can sort of take notes and stuff. Because I like having multiple monitors, multiple things to sort of do things. But yeah, I just want to thank you for your time, Daniel. Definitely, I'd love to do a podcast episode with you whenever you're up for that, just to talk about your journey and how you learn.
Absolutely.
And then, thank you, Majida. I always appreciate your support. Thank you for everyone who stopped by. Um,
You guys, I really appreciate it too, man, because you're not going to get this time back in your life ever again. And you
yeah,
spent it with Janayat and us. And I really appreciate that.
yeah. So thank you, Lisa. I appreciate you. She and Jacqueline says our district has been doing an amazing job with keeping remote learning great. And then Teresa says she's going to light bundles of sage to close 2020. And she said, good to meet you, Daniel. So thank you so much.
Thank you so
Teresa,
much.
I have to follow up with you. Hope everything's going well with you. We'll keep in touch. And thank you, everybody. So another LinkedIn Insomnia.
Thank you, guys.